that's something that you do a lot with Banks. I mean, is he good at that? Is that something that
he's good at it? Yeah, he's got some. I mean, there's some things about him move inside. There's some little things that he needs to work on, and pulling's going to be one of them. But he's done a really good job in everything. He's developing in all his areas. He's very diligent in studying what to do next and listening and taking coaching, and he's doing a nice job. But that is going to be something he's going to have to work on.
Chris Hubbard, how did he grade out, and can he play comfortably both sides?
Chris can play both sides. Yeah, that's where we're working him primarily on the left because he's uncomfortable there. He's more comfortable on the right side, in my opinion. So I've decided to dedicate those two guys kind of opposite where they're used to doing it, he and Parker. And then if we get to however the thing shakes out, if one of them's here to be a swing or something like that, it would be they could go back to working both. But right now, I think I can let them put their best foot forward, work in his position to get better where their weaknesses are, and also they'd stay in one spot every single day. He performed well. You know, every player would like a few plays back, and I think Hubbard would like one or two back for sure.
Has Jalen played enough at this point where missing that game for being ill is not that big a deal?
Yeah, I mean, the first preseason game he was going to play the series, so it ended up playing like 11, I think it was 11 play drive, wasn't it? The penalty was the 12th play, so he had 11 plays. I mean, for what that's worth. But I think I shared it last week. There's something to that full speed work that, regardless of when you get it, you do need it at some point. It's not like he did whatever the date was is going to make a difference opening day, but it does in the big scheme of things.
I got kind of a big picture run game question. Last year with Christian winning the NFL rushing title for the year, it kind of goes under the radar when you're in the middle of a Super Bowl run. Is there a way that you guys kind of honored it or celebrated it? And then what's it going to take to kind of repeat that success?
Yeah, I don't know if the guys did anything. We don't do. We're congratulations, all those honors, because so many guys, we had a lot of good players in this team that win a lot of things. We don't do anything for that to say, hey, he won the individual rushing title. I know that he did take care of the guys at Christmas or something. I don't know. There was a gift or something. Yeah, so line coach didn't see it, but all the players did. I don't do any blocking, so I don't deserve any of them. But and I don't like golf, so. But yeah, he definitely we all obviously congratulations to go around, but it's nothing big like that for the individual merit.
And then what's it going to take to just kind of repeat that success this year?
Every year's different. The cliche answer is a cliche for a reason. I mean, every year it's a brand new year. You have to get out there and start doing things and see where it goes. I mean, how defenses play you. There's so many different things that can come into it. That how well your quarterback plays. If your receivers are healthy, that you can throw the ball and keep them off your running game. And there's just so many things. I mean, you look at the run we had to open in Pittsburgh. We watched it the other day, and the big 50 or 60 yard run to start in the second half, and it was an incredible run with incredible. Maybe that guy tackles him this year, and you have 4 or 5 of those in a year, and it looks different. You just don't know how it goes and how the season plays out. We were able to get a lot of runs in the fourth quarter of games this year. There were a lot of games that we don't have a lot of 2-minute drives, but we sure have a lot of trying to kill the clock at the end of a game.
You guys have in the past sometimes rotated guys at a position. What are the benefits of that for a young guy?
Oh, it's huge, and I don't even know why. I don't know how I decide to do it, but you can kind of tell. I even did it with Feliciano, who I didn't think Burford. I didn't think Feliciano was going to play as much it was a Green Bay game in the playoffs. But also I noticed, I said, 97 was giving him some issues. So instead of getting in a routine of rushing John Feliciano, you put Burford in there, and the defender has to deal with a different guy. For young players, that was the sidelight. It can help anybody. For a young player, what it is those plays start mounting up where you start doing some bad. You get out and just take a step away. It stops whatever's going on, and you get to go back in and restart. That guy then has to deal with a different player. And over the course of time, usually what happens is you have a veteran player and a younger player. The younger player you think has more talent, that's why you're alternating. He's just not quite ready to play 60 plays a game. And our position is one, like some other positions on the field, that defensive line, for example, you can get a rookie 20, 30, 40 plays because they rotate so much. That's what starters do. Offensive linemen, you can't. People think you shouldn't. I know you can do it, and it does. That's a great way to work a player in just because he doesn't get exposed. Analytics was, they would say, every time we took him out, they were saying that was about the time his play was starting to do this. Now, I'm not saying I did it because of that. I kind of had in my mind 2 series, 3 series, but you can kind of feel that, and you talk to them on the side, you feel that things are getting a little loose. Let's bring them back over here, and they stand for a minute, catch their breath, and they can usually get back into a rhythm.
A lot of offensive line coaches preach the continuity. When did you first maybe do that with the figuring, okay, it was worth shuttling?
Well, here's what I saw. When I was with the Vikings, we drafted a rookie tackle that I watched him be completely destroyed. Like just week after week, game after game, he wasn't quite good enough. He wasn't quite ready. And by mid to the end of the season, he went on IR because he was beat up. He was just hanging on for dear life. And we didn't have somebody to rotate, but we talked. We did have somebody that would have helped them. When I went to Tampa, we drafted we had a veteran player there at right tackle that came from another team, and we had a right tackle that I thought could be as good. And we just started rotating. That was the first time I did it. Was back in, I think we were in Orange. I think it was 1996. I did it, and then I did it again in Baltimore, and did a couple different places where it's been managed through it. We've been lucky, that it's worked out. But it's worked out that way that you can help the development.
Where do things stand at backup center?
Well, right now it's you have Barch and Zakel that are battling out with Nugent there as well. You got 3 guys there that can do it, and that will work the backup, and we'll see how it plays out as the year goes on. Zakel obviously took the starting reps. I would say that if you looked at him and said, what's Zakel's strengths and what Barch's are, I think that Zakel's probably playing a little bit better. Center suited him better, and guard probably suits Barch better. And not that either one of them play center. That's the first game Zakel's ever played in a game center, and that was it in college anywhere. So, and I just say that, so I give him the edge right now, but they're both right there, because then if you move Zakel to guard, Barch to center, it just depends on what you're looking at. You look at, say, okay, one of those guys will be your 3rd or 4th guard, backup center. It's a lot of pieces we're moving there, but that's where it sits right now.
You decided who's going to play what in against the Saints?
No, I mean, Kyle and I briefly talked about it. I think some of it leads up to discussions on the last game, because you have a small window of time between Sunday and Friday. You have to be careful how many guys you want playing. So you look forward to that game, and you work back and say, okay, if we have a lot of players playing in that game, then maybe not as many this week, because the short turnaround. You don't want to give them a daggum short week in the preseason if you can help it.
Chris, what does Kingston look like to you?
He's getting better all the time. He's improving. One thing I love about these young guys, John Lynch and I were talking about this morning, is these guys are they're working hard to improve, and they've made some good strides. It's a tribute to them, not to me. We just do what we do. We go out there and do the same thing every day. But these guys have grabbed onto it, and he has gotten better. The things that we saw that were limitations with him we felt were fixable, and so he's been able to fix some of them. It's still not consistent, but it's gotten better. So there were things that they get addressed, and we addressed them, and he's addressed them, which is good. Some guys, it's hard to break a habit, and we've talked about it in here before, where those in a game, when you start creating bad habits, they're hard to break. And these guys over the course of their college career have some bad habits that you have to break, and the things he had wrong, he's really fixed, and so that's helped elevate his game every week.
More guard or more tackle?
More guard. He's played tackle out of necessity, and can still in a pinch, but he's a guard. Although he's got issues. He's got to work on his anchor and things like that inside, because he doesn't. There's pluses and minuses at both positions for him. So he's got to make up some space at guard to get better there.
You ran the ball so well with Mason on the opening series, and then it was considerably tougher for Schrader and Breida. Was that just being behind a second line? Were there things they didn't see that Mason did see?
No, we didn't block. We didn't block well at all. We didn't block well at all. And I want to get, I tell them, look, we're down, and these aren't excuses, this is an explanation for me. I'm looking at it and say, why, holy cow. Well, really, at the end of the day, when you take Trent, Jalen, Feliciano, and Burford out of the equation, you've taken 4 or 5 people that are really starting caliber players. So then all of a sudden your starting group becomes a little bit more of a second-tier group, and then the next group becomes more of a later in the game group. And so by that point, that second, third quarter, we weren't. It was a good challenge for those guys. It was good to watch them against that caliber of player that they probably wouldn't see in the fourth quarter of the game when most of them would have been playing. Everybody's been pushed up to play at a little bit higher level than what they would have if our starters were here, all healthy and there and playing. So it's huge, it's benefit. But the drawback is they're put in there in situations, and we didn't give the backs enough good looks. Fortunately, and we'll see how this week's a whole different thing, we protected decently. I mean, it was decent that the last in the fourth quarter got a little bit loose at the 2 tackles, but we protected good enough, which then at least we could do that, because we weren't running the ball very well.
It used to be that defenses didn't do a lot of blitzing in the preseason. I guess that's changed somewhat recently. How do you feel about that? I mean, are you sort of glad that the Titans blitzed quite a bit just to give your guys?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I do. I remember I was in Baltimore with Rex Ryan and Brian Billick. There was always discussion, because Rex Ryan was, he'd throw the kitchen sink at everybody, and they'd always have a discussion. Do we show them what we do, or do we not show them, hold it till the regular season? And Brian was like, do everything in the preseason, because that means everybody has to prepare for everything. Sometimes you realize in the fourth quarter of some of these games, defense coordinators are calling things just they know you're going to play them in 2 weeks. that you have to prep for it. Not in the regular season, but in the preseason, because you don't have a lot of tape on them. So you're scouring, oh, we got to work on all these blitzes, and they may never do it again that all year. So sometimes it's a prep time. Some people, every defense coordinator uses different things. My philosophy is, I want to see everything we can see. I want those guys to be prepped. In other words, if Pooney, if whoever these guys are that we're trying to evaluate, if they just see one front, one defense all the time, what evaluation are you getting other than their physical? This gives them a mental challenge.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys.